1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Today's new drug is there's GMs on the premises. Not this premises. No, I don't
Correct,
think,
not ours.
not our. We have a good premises. It's
We
not
do.
our premises, but it's there. There are GMs on the premises. I told you yesterday.
What if you have multiple premises? Is it premi? Or I guess it's premises. I guess I just answered my own question.
That it's a fantastic question. Okay, it's premises.
Like fungi.
Yeah. Oh, and we're off and running, just like that.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, oh, now it is. I told you yesterday, I kind of felt silly when we started the show yesterday. The show was mostly about Florida JU and baseball, and we appreciate Sully and Chris coming on. But I felt a little silly thinking, can I call it the eve of the interviews? But I mean, that's how big kind of a deal it is around
Sure.
here. It's the eve of it is the eve of the interviews, you know? So we is it weird that we're kind of giddy about GM interviews? I mean, giddy may not be the word, but so interested and so intrigued and so
Look, this is the person that's making the calls for trades and and your lead negotiator. I mean, again, Liam Cohen is probably going to be the final thumbs up, thumbs down on personnel decisions, but it's the GM that's going to have to navigate the waters on a lot of the fronts when it comes to negotiations and trade talks and setting up boards and things like that, and which players to bring in for your facility interviews. Right. That's always a big component. So no, I mean it's a gigantic job. It may not carry the full decision weight that some other GM job, the customary GM job does, right? But still a very important job for the Jaguars.
Yeah, and I think we're a one horse town. We got one team, and so and I think there's a level of kind of a positivity and excitement about just kind of the newness of it. So anyway, so we'll see. So I got a thought or two about the GM search. I'm going to weigh in on that in just a bit on the program today. Brett Hastings stops by phone today. Interesting sports in courts, at least interesting to me. It's very interesting if you think about this, Hayes. If you think about it for a second, the state income tax is going to play. All of a sudden, these guys are going to be making all this money. So there's a movement from the Georgia and Alabama. I don't know if it's from the legislatures or from the schools. Have you seen this story where they're asking state income tax to be waived from anybody making NIL dollars?
Yeah, I saw the one in Georgia.
Yeah, okay. It's now Georgia and Alabama. So pay us a couple $100,000 to play tight end. And, oh, by the way, we don't want to pay the state income tax that, I don't know, every other employee in the state of Georgia pays.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
Well, of course it is, but it looks like it's it's becoming a big legal battle that because of the power of Georgia and Alabama football in those states, it might win.
I suppose it could win, but I would think, and Brett, I'll be interested to hear his expert opinion on it, but I would think what then stops an electrician, anybody else, a lawyer, and anybody, right? Anybody that earns a paycheck and pays taxes in their respective state. What stops them from then suing and saying, well, why do I have to pay income tax? Well, why? I mean, if you're going to make this exception, then, why do I have to pay it? And so I'll be curious to see what he says. Well, but it's such a pandering politicians thing. It's disgusting. Right. I mean, it's the kind of thing. It's like, is this really what you guys think about? I mean, this is the solution. Is let's have athletes not pay taxes on their NIL so our football team has an advantage. It's anyway. Yeah. It's
and he apparently, and Brett will weigh in on. We're gonna have him in just a few minutes. Brett will weigh in on this, but Hayes, the other part of that is here's who's they can make an exception for some sports, college, whatever reason if they can. What about the I don't know, golf, member of the golf team who gives private lessons to make a little extra money? What about the member of the band that gives trumpet lessons to make extra money? Aren't they the same thing? They're students. They're students that are getting paid for their craft.
Right. And these are adults.
Yeah.
So again, it begs the question of why should the carpenter or the plumber or whoever whoever is earning income in those states, why wouldn't they just sue and be like, well, I have a great case because you've already exempted this group of people from paying income tax. And they, they have no real reason to be doing it other than, they entertain you by how well they play football. So Again, I'll be very interested in hearing what Brett says about it. When I read it, I thought it was one of the most ridiculous things I'd ever seen, and obviously would not hold up even if they were able to pass it.
Yeah. So and I agree with that. So we'll see that. So sports and courts comes up in just a minute. We'll talk about that. Here's the other question. In 2006 and 2007, I don't know that I've enjoyed many championships more than the Gators winning 2 national championships. I was at both games. I've been at every Final Four game they've ever played. I'll fly to this one if they get to the Final Four.
Well, go ahead and book the flight to San Antonio.
Are they going to win the national championship?
I don't know that they're going to win it, but I would now be really stunned if they don't win their region. I mean, I don't know how this team, barring just playing the worst game that they've played all season, it's hard to see them, like, what's going to be the recipe for them getting upset? Because they've got so many ways in which they can beat you. So, yes, I think you're going to be in San Antonio. I don't know if they'll cut the nets down, but absolutely would not be surprised if they did.
They played Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma's struggling in the SEC. They're 3-9. They'd lost 4 in a row. But this isn't Oklahoma Tech. This isn't Oklahoma Junior College. This is Oklahoma.
They were 13-0 going into SEC play.
With wins over Arizona and a few other teams.
Yeah, they had 3 really good quality non-conference wins.
They could have won that game by 50.
Sure.
They pulled Clayton with 10:33 to play in the game and up 23 and didn't put him back in. Now, when you're up 23, you pull your guy for a little bit, then you put him back in, and then in the last 3 or 4 minutes, then you bring in the walk-on dudes. They pulled Clayton with 10:33 to play in the game, and he sat down and put his sweats on, and they still won the game by 23 points. They could have won the game certainly could have won it by 40. And I'm thinking, they might be the best team in the country. And you made a good point. We were talking off air. I haven't watched Houston or Iowa State or probably even Duke as much as I probably should have, or who these other teams are. But and I'll tell you, we'll talk more about this as we go.
But again, if Duke or Houston are your problem, you're in San Antonio.
Yeah,
because
right.
You're not seeing them until you get to San Antonio, assuming Florida stays a 1.
And and you have to win that game that you didn't play well in the tournament. We all know in 2000, Butler kind of outplayed him in the first round, and Mike Miller hit the runner at the end of the game, and somehow they survived. And the next thing you know, they're in the final game playing Michigan State for the national championship. I was there. I was at courtside. I also was in Minneapolis in 2006 at courtside when the one bad game they played, Georgetown outplayed them. And you remember the game?
Yes.
It was in the old what was the dome? What was the Minneapolis Dome called before they have their new field? Whatever. Whatever the Minneapolis Dome was, they played it.
The Metrodome.
Metrodome, right? It was in the Metrodome, and I'm at courtside, and I'm thinking, this is a shame. They may have the best team in the country, and they're going to lose because they're not playing very well. Humphrey's balls wasn't making shots, and so it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So they're up 2, and where I was sitting at press row, Hays, I was dead across from the foul line at the Georgetown end, right? So, and Jeff Green, went on to be a longtime NBA player. Jeff Green had a look, remember this? Top of the key 3, wide open with about 3-4 seconds left. When he let it go, I'm like, dang it. And he missed it. And Florida went on to win. And that was the game. You have to win that game.
Right.
You have
in 94, wasn't Danielle Marshall the one at the line?
Danielle Marshall missed 2 free throws. That's exactly right.
And if not for that, Florida doesn't make the Final Four.
Correct. So that's a great call. So you have to win the game where you probably got outplayed or you weren't yourself. And if not, you don't make the Final Four or win a championship. So Florida could lose that game this year. You could lose the game that you don't play well. And so could Duke or
anybody.
Houston or Iowa State. Right. But barring that, barring not finding a way to win that game where you didn't play well, they could win the national championship. I am astounded that they're this good. I mean, by now I shouldn't be because we've watched it all year long, but I'm astounded that they're this good. And now the seeding the only thing that makes me a little nervous about the seeding is because they didn't play a very good non-conference schedule. They don't have a lot of quad 1 wins. I think they're sitting on 5 still. Isn't it 5?
Let me check.
I think it's 5 quad 1 wins.
Because it fluctuates.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of opponents that they've beaten that keep kind of coming in and out.
Yeah, but it's something like that.
So Florida right now is 5-3 in quad ones. They're fourth in the net. Just to give you an idea, so Auburn's 14-2, which is ridiculous for any year. That's that's preposterous.
So they have 14 quad one wins.
Right.
Florida's got 5.
Duke is 5-3 as well.
Okay.
They're second. Houston is 6-4. And then Tennessee, who is just behind Florida in the net, is 8-5.
Yeah.
So Florida is I'd say, comparable
you're right.
to the other teams around them. Auburn's just on a totally different stratosphere. It's why Auburn could probably lose 2 more games and still be the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, and by the way, and would deserve it. They're really good. But anyway, I'm just shocked that they're this good. That they are really this good of a team. So we'll certainly talk about that.
Well, like last night, Aberdeen and Houck didn't shoot the ball well.
Right.
It didn't matter.
Right.
The problem you're going to run into with Florida is you need like 5 players to play poorly.
Right.
And the odds of that happening are very slim.
Yeah.
Like if Clayton and Martin don't play well, okay, well, then you might get great games from Houck, Aberdeen, Condon when he returns. Chinlelu could give you something. Yeah. Klavzar could knock down some big shots for you.
There's about 8 guys that can really help.
It's incredible.
Mia, where'd you vote him this week? Where'd you vote the Gators? Mia's a voter. 3? I'm all right with that. If you had said 7, I was never speaking to you again. Okay, but you said 3, so okay. So Mia's vote is, Mia's a voter. So, but I think they might win the national championship. I just think I'm still astounded they're this good. We'll talk more about that coming up later on in the program. We're going to take a break in a second. When we come back, Brett Hastings will join us by phone. Sports and Courts talked about this silly request from I don't even know who made it.
I saw it. It was some Georgia legislator.
So it's in the legislature that's trying to push through no state income tax.
I think he called it the Kirby Smart Law.
Of course he would.
Yeah. So, this is clearly somebody that is trying to get some votes on it.
We'll talk about that. As Sports and Courts comes up next. The following segment, I want to get into the general manager search. 2 have been in, 2 today. I think probably 2 tomorrow, 1 on Friday. Then I think sometime over the weekend would be my guess that you'll know who the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars is. I would think with the Combine coming up next week, they're going to try and get this done this week. We'll see if it turns out that way. Sports and Courts is next. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances lead.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL. The power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
This is Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Happy New Year from Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Start 2025 off right by keeping your car running smoothly. Whether you're traveling for work or heading out on a weekend getaway, their expert technicians will ensure your vehicle is in top shape. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule maintenance, repairs, or tire service. With Big Chief Tire's trusted care, you'll tackle every journey ahead with peace of mind. Start the year strong. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Best Bet is number one. That's right. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
You survived the cold, and it's time to heat up your spring with a cigar tasting of Perdomo cigars. Join Tobacco Cove Saturday, February 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. for a tasting extravaganza featuring Perdomo cigars rolled in Nicaragua. Food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to experience the quality and value Perdomo offers. Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Duck Duck Rooter is currently hiring in all departments. We want great plumbers, CDL drivers, drain field installers, and lift station technicians. If you have experience in your trade and love to deliver a super high-quality level of customer service, you have found the right company. You will enjoy our benefits package that includes excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, and working for the best in the industry. Apply at duckduckrooter.com. That's duckduckrooter.com. And click on the careers page. Duck Duck Rooter is an equal opportunity employer.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, here to share with you an actual client review.
Dude, these shirts are sick.
Check out the shirts and other sick promo items at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hi, I'm Janice. I'm a coach at Awaken 180 Weight Loss. When a client reaches the goal that they've set, they are so proud of themselves. They are so thrilled with how they look and how they feel. They are ready to take on the next thing. And that's one thing about weight loss. It's so much more than a number on a scale. It's about self-respect. It's a momentum thing. Now that I've lost 50 pounds, wow, there's no reason why I can't do this next thing that initially seemed so daunting, but now I know I can do it. The celebration is not just how much better you look and feel, but how much more self-respect you have. We get on a track of success at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Losing weight with Awaken 180 isn't about the number on the scale. It's about how that number spearheads endless success. Bring your goals to Awaken 180, then celebrate when you check off each and every one of them. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
All right, it is time to talk Sports and Courts with Brett Hastings. Let me say one thing too. Brett, welcome aboard. How you doing, buddy? You all right?
I'm doing great.
Good. We appreciate it. Brett, by the way, in addition to analyzing these issues for us, does a great job in finding them. So I appreciate that, Brett. He's not just we come up with a topic and say, Brett, analyze this for us. Brett's kind of he's the research specialist of the program too. So thank you for doing this. Hays had seen this story. I had not seen it, but take me through this. That there's bills in Georgia and Alabama that would exempt college athlete NIL income from state taxes. Now, we don't have state taxes in Florida, so people that live here and have a long time probably don't understand what we're talking about. But in addition to your federal income tax, if you live in states with state taxes, and Georgia and Alabama both qualify, you pay an additional tax note that you don't pay in Florida, but they're trying to get this waived. Take me through the background of what's happening here, Brett.
It's exactly that. Florida This is something that Canes fans, Knoll fans, and Gator fans can all kind of rejoice in right now because there's no state income tax. The money that's going to these athletes, right? It's better to be here. You're going to realize more money. Guess which two states do have state income taxes? Georgia and Alabama, right? So right now, just in general in the South, all of the state legislative sessions are getting ready to start. People are going to put up various different types of bills. And so there's been 2 NIL bills that have been put forward to say that student athletes should not have to pay state income tax in Georgia and Alabama. And here's why. It's not just a Florida issue. Guess which other 2 southern states don't have state income tax? Tennessee and Texas. So Alabama and Georgia are seeing, hey, here's 3 of the, really, right now aggressive other NIL players. And so if you take $100,000, it's a 5.9% state income tax rate in Georgia. Alabama, I tried to look at it. It looks like it's somewhere around 3%. But for every $100,000 that we hear about somebody getting an NIL, hey, that's another $6,000, right? And on $1 million NIL deal, that's $60,000. So those aren't inconsequential, amounts of money. And so in Georgia and Alabama, they're wanting to, quote, try to level the playing field. But, I think there will be some challenges to this, and we can go into that.
Please do.
So we have a little thing called the 14th Amendment, right? And we have the Equal Protection Clause. And although it seems like a somewhat weird application here, what I think you would see is you're going to see people come after and say, hey, I'm not a student athlete, but I shouldn't have to pay have this, I want an income tax exemption, right? What if you're a social media influencer and you're in college? You would say, hey, I'd really, I made $3 million off of Instagram, and I think I should be able to save $180,000 or what have you. And so if there's going to be a legal challenge, that's where it's going to come from. I think these things will make their way through Georgia and Alabama. There's going to be a lot of impetus there. The Dog fans, the Roll Tide fans are going to want to see it happen. I think it'll actually happen. Then we'll see some challenges later, and we'll see how that bodes. If they want to continue to give that, I think ultimately the exemption would have to end up being a little bit broader for other people to make it through that equal protection, argument.
I just, as I see this, Hays and I were kind of chuckling about it before. You can't. Wouldn't it be preposterous for the state legislature to change something that's existed forever so that Kirby Smart can recruit head to head with Billy Napier? I mean, it almost seems silly to me that the legislature would make a decision based on that, Brett. I mean, you know this world better than we do. Could that happen?
Oh, you don't need a law degree for this. Hey, let me ask you, Hays and Frank, aren't you glad you don't have a state income tax here, right?
I am.
Yeah, I am.
I'm for that.
I am for it too. And there are going to be a lot of other people and interested groups that feel the same way. And so, yeah, that's the crux of where the problem is. The other real issue is that they're saying that they're doing these things proactively, right? Because we think the House settlement and these other things are going to come down, and we're actually going to get to a point of saying we're going to do this for, pay for play. But at this point, that's not happening yet. And, it's early on, and this really is solely as it relates to name, image, and likeness, right? Because they can't have a bill that says it's okay to pay for play, even though we kind of know that's what's going on in reality, because the settlement isn't done. So, yeah, it really seems premature. I think the issues that we've been talking about, are we going to characterize these athletes as employees and all of those other things, they need to happen before we're going out and putting these types of bills and stuff to go forward. Hey, Georgia's uber successful. Alabama's uber successful. They probably just need to change the comp up or pay the tax bill so that, it ends up, it's not apples to oranges.
I liked your comparison of the Instagram student that makes significant money, but let's take it to even somebody that's, like the polar opposite of the college football player. What would stop the 60-year-old electrician from suing and saying, why should I have to pay state income tax if these athletes do not?
Right. Well, what they would say, and their argument would be, is that when Georgia and Alabama are competitive, they actually generate money for their states, right? They're still state universities, okay? So they would say that we're narrowly tailoring this bill and making it rationally related to this scenario so that we can be competitive with others. And so it's a very narrow application, and it's just to address that issue so that things can be, comparative, and it's not, abolishing the state income tax for the entire state. So.
The whole thing is going to be interesting. Final thing, what's your guess on a timetable on this? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
If you could get them through, then they could get them through the legislative session. You got a good faith argument to say, hey, we don't have to pay this tax to the state, right? The state's paying, the state is passing the bill. So those athletes would be immediately able to, benefit from that. And then it'd be whether or not these challenges ended up coming down the pipe.
What's to stop? Sorry, go ahead.
No. So that was it. Maybe 3 months, and this could end up being a reality in Alabama and Georgia. The legal challenges would be something that would be more protracted, 18, 36 months.
What about the professional athletes in the state of Georgia? Could the Atlanta Falcons player, Atlanta Hawks player, could they sue based on, hey, I'm at a disadvantage because I have to pay state income tax, but my colleagues that are employed in Florida, Texas, Tennessee do not?
No, they'd say no because everybody's treated equally, right? So if you actually earn your money when you're a Falcons player and you come to Jacksonville, you wouldn't pay state income tax on that amount, right? But if you had other agreements, deals, sponsorships, it would depend on, where the locale is for any of those, but it would work out across all of the things. So there wouldn't be an argument that they'd be able to avail themselves to that on the basis of equal protection. Yes. Basically somebody's got to be very similarly situated. And so the Instagram model is about as close an argument as you could make on that.
Interesting stuff. Brett Hastings checking in. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much it's going to be harder now with Saban out of the mix. That's the bottom line is Saban would tell the damn governor what to do, wouldn't he? Well, he's not there anymore.
Wait, he wasn't the governor?
Well said. Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That is Sports and Courts. Thank you, Brett.
You got it.
All right, interesting. But it really is an interesting story. If all of a sudden you look up and there's no state income tax for the Alabama recruit who's getting big NIL money after there's been state income tax forever in the state of Alabama. I mean, can you imagine?
It really is amazing, the power of college football.
It really is. It truly is. All right, let's take a break. I want to talk about the Jaguars general manager search. That's next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Oh, good morning. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Meow.
Doing their best to make every morning good. Or at least a little better.
Oh, now I see what you're saying.
Mornings on 1010XL.
That's good. That's good fun.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 133541. A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working and the next minute it's not working. Every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
When they were little, the other girls played with dolls.
Aww.
They played with footballs.
Who's them?
Yes, it's us.
Helmets and heels.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
Some girls have all the fun.
The First Coast Games is an annual team building challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals. These goals include some friendly competition, of course, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
Leading the JU Dolphins to an NCAA Division I championship in 1970, Artis Gilmore still holds the highest career rebounding average in Division I history. Gilmore played in the ABA and in the NBA and was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2011. Gilmore also serves as a special assistant to the president for Jacksonville University. I'm E.T., and this Black History Month profile on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com. Catch Gators baseball all season long on 1010XL. Pitched by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, we're back with us on a Wednesday. Frangie and Carlyon, JJ La Selva with you. How you doing in there, JJ? You all good?
I am.
You ready for baseball? You ready? You ready for pitchers and catchers already there?
Yeah, it's still a while. It's a while away. Right. I feel like.
Yeah. Kind of does. Me too.
Have you gotten your Carson Beck Canes jersey?
I haven't, but I'll be interested to see what number he is.
Is 15 taken?
I mean, at this point, no. Not
right,
like if it's for the guy they paid $4 million to.
He gets 15.
You get
He
what
gets
you
to wear
want.
15.
Exactly.
That's right. All right, so the Jags are going through interviews. So I was thinking about this. So I had a buddy of mine in the neighborhood. It was an interesting. Hays, you and I had this conversation the other day. So a buddy of mine in the neighborhood said, "Hey, so you think it might be Ethan Waugh?" And I said, "Did I no?" And he said, "Well," I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I was just listening, and you and Hays both were wanting to make sure everybody knew that Ethan wasn't Trent Baalke, and Frank, you were selling it kind of hard.
We're just not discounting it.
Well, but you said something. What you said was probably what I was thinking. First of all, Ethan Waugh's a really good guy and respected in the building. He's not Trent Baalke. I'm not trying to slam Trent, but there's a different personality. There's a different level of respect. And we kind of said the same thing. But you said, having said that, I don't think he's going to be the GM. I just want to make sure people understand he's not the same guy. Well, I don't think he's going to be the GM either. So I kind of felt the way you did. I just probably didn't add that part. You know what I mean? So it's kind of sounded like I'm preparing fans in case Ethan gets it. Now, Ethan might get it. I have no idea. There's 5 guys. I believe in all my heart. You wouldn't bring 5 guys into that interview if they didn't have a legitimate chance to win the interview and win the job. I think that'd be disrespectful to the league and the players and the coaches. I mean, Josh Williams came in today. They would not have flown Josh Williams 5 hours across the entire country, and asked him to have the best interview of his life if they weren't seriously considering him. That'd be unfair. So I believe all 5 are in play. I really do believe that, and that includes Ethan. My gut is it's not going to be Ethan, but so if I sold that wasn't my intention. It's just he's a good guy and he's done a good job and he's been a real aid, I think, to them in this process. So I got thinking about it. I don't know. My guess is they're all 5. I said this the other day. I'll stand by this. That's 5 pretty damn good candidates. I really believe that.
And you'd be embarrassing Ethan Waugh to not make him a finalist.
And that too. But I do believe they're all 5 in it. I just, my opinion is, it's not my opinion that Ethan's going to be the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is kind of what you said.
Yeah.
So
there's a chance, but I think it's a small one.
Yeah. And it's just not my opinion that he's, and he might be, but it's not my opinion that he's going to be. So the next question, well, what prediction? We make a prediction. Well, I have no way of knowing. Okay. But I got to thinking about this. I just did. And I'm going to indulge me for a second here. But one thing Shad Khan said at that press conference, Hays, is it's going to be coach-centric. You echoed that 5 minutes ago when you said probably the final decision on whatever is going to be Liam Cohen, which I think now every message we've seen is that, what you said earlier, that it's probably going to be Liam Cohen. So it's going to be very coach-centric, all right? Well, to me, I look at these guys' backgrounds, don't know any of them. Just know, like everybody else, what you read on social, what you read on the internet, what you hear. But Gladstone comes from the Rams. Very coach-centric. Josh Williams, who I know nothing about, other than what I've read, what I can tell you is he's been with the 49ers since 11. Mm-hmm. So he's been there 13 years. Is under Shanahan. Very coach-centric. Okay? Ian Cunningham is with the Bears. Has been since 22. 5 years before that was with the Eagles. Before that was with the Ravens. I don't know that the Eagles are not coach-centric. Howie Roseman he's the boss. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care if it's Doug Peterson or Nick Sirianni or whoever. They will tell you Howie Roseman's the boss. That is not a coach-centric setup. The Bears, I don't know. Ryan Poles, I think, he's
the boss.
He's the boss. I think Ryan Poles is the boss. So
I mean, now with Ben Johnson,
could change. I thought the same thing. That could change.
The old dynamic,
but up until now,
correct.
Up until now, Ryan Poles has been the boss.
Yes.
And so you're right. It could change. I thought the same thing. It could change with Ben Johnson. So, and so I promise you, John Eric Sullivan, who's been with the Packers a long time, the Packers have absolutely been GM centric. You know, the Packers are all about the GM being the boss. So I find myself thinking, if Shad said it's going to be coach-centric, and I think it is, that almost leads me to believe the guy that with the Rams and the 49ers fit that more than somebody with the Bears and the Packers. Now, in fairness, that doesn't mean Ian Cunningham and John Eric Sullivan can't come in here as really good GMs and know that the coach is the boss. I don't want to make it sound like they can't do that just because that's not where they've been. That's not fair. But I think that's in play a little bit. And to take that a step further, guys, it seems like they want to be the Rams. It seems like that's the model. Now, you definitely don't want to be somebody else, but I'm thinking about this. If you look at almost every hire they have made, okay, the offensive coordinator came from Minnesota, but he's under Kevin O'Connell. Grant Udinski is under Kevin O'Connell, who was the coordinator for McVay for a year. Okay. Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, is under Matt LaFleur, who was a coordinator for McVay for a year. Liam's years, his most important years, his formative years, if you will, as a coach, 4 years with Sean McVay is when he came into existence. Now, he'll tell you, and he should tell you, and I appreciate this about him, that Don Brown and Mark Whipple and some of these other coaches, Mark Stoops, had a lot to do with his development. But he came in, his presence, when we really found out who he was, when the world found out who he was because of those 4 years under McVay. So if Liam Cohen was under McVay for those 4 years, if Grant Udinski, who is now the offensive coordinator, is under Kevin O'Connell, who was under McVay, Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, was under Matt LaFleur, who was under McVay. James Gladstone is under McVay. It seems to me, if I had to make a prediction, and I don't want to misrepresent this, I don't have a tip. I don't have any insight. I don't think the Jaguar folks know. I think they're going to interview all 5 and then decide. So I don't think there could be a tip, right? But as I try and piece this together, if I'm going to predict, I'll predict Gladstone. If I would predict, and that's the information I wish I would predict it, is he's under McVay. So many people from that McVay tree have already have been hired in Jacksonville, and both he and Josh Williams work in a very coach-centric operation where the head coach is the boss, and Ian Cunningham and John Eric Sullivan work in circumstances where the general manager is the boss. Again, that doesn't mean they can't work under a coach-centric operation, but given all of that, if I had to predict, and it is a wild guess and I could be 100% off, I'm going to predict Gladstone. And why Gladstone over Josh Williams? McVay. But I'm guessing, so I think they're all 5 good candidates. That's my prediction based on everything from Shad's press conference forward.
Yeah, that's all good points. Good reading of the tea leaves. All that adds up to that could be the result. I'll go Cunningham just because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be more like who Liam Cohen feels like he knows the best. And I don't, and again, I'm speculating that that's Ian Cunningham. It may not be, but, so I think it's going to be Cunningham, but it's a tepid pick at best. And I'd have no problem if it's Gladstone.
By the way, so is mine. I mean, because we don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all that makes sense. Again, really with this, it's which candidate is willing to take the GM job, but probably not have the final say, because you're in a conundrum because you don't know. These jobs do not come open very much, certainly not as much as often as head coaching jobs. So you really don't. It's like if you are offered it and you don't take it, you don't really know when your next chance is going to come. And it is a massive promotion for any of these men. There is a massive difference, even in a GM that doesn't have final say, over being a lieutenant in a front office. I mean, from a visibility standpoint, it's night and day in terms of your visibility, your presence. All these guys obviously have egos. We all have egos. I mean, it puts you on a different level. Even if you're a general manager where it is coach-centric, you're still one of 32 GMs. You're still at the podium at the combine. You're still doing, a season-ending wrap-up. You're still the one, talking to the draft pick when you're making the selection. I mean, all that stuff goes into it. You're the one negotiating the terms and working out the trades and things like that. So, and you're setting, I mean, look, even if it's a GM that's going to cede to the head coach on decisions. Look, you're still in charge of a staff, a scouting department, setting up the facility visits, who's coming in of those important 30, the combine interviews, how you want to attack that. I don't think Liam Cohen's going to want to have much of a say. I could be wrong, but most head coaches, I would say, even ones that want control of personnel, they're not really interested in, this is the list that I want to submit of guys I want to talk to at the combine. And these are the 30 in-person visits that I want us to have. I mean, so yes, you're not getting the full spectrum of what the normal GM job might be, but you're still on a much different level of visibility around the league. And so, I think it's going to be interesting for – I don't think any of these guys are going to say, you know what, it's just not enough. I'm going to go back, because you might be there. And you brought up Mike Borgonzi. He's the perfect example. I mean, look at how long he had to wait to finally get a GM job. He was with the Chiefs from the beginning of the Andy Reid era.
Right.
And had to wait until 2025 to get a GM job. So, I mean, it is an interesting dynamic. I don't think it's going to prevent any of these men from taking the job.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Anyone gets the offer is taking the job. I agree with you on that. So we'll see. By the way, I can tell you, I do believe this in all my heart. A great candidate to get the job, a great indicator who's going to get the job, is who has the best 4-hour block in the next 3 days. By the way. I think these interviews are 4-hour block. I think they're breaking them up into 4-hour blocks. And if Josh Williams has a better 4 hours than the other 4 guys, I don't know if that means he gets the job, but I mean, it might. I mean, I'll say it again. You don't fly Josh Williams here from California, James Gladstone here from California, John Eric Sullivan here from Wisconsin, Ian Cunningham here from Illinois, and even ask Ethan Waugh, who lives here, to take the time. You don't do that if you're not taking the interview seriously. It doesn't make any sense. The logic tells you that. So these 4-hour blocks that are going to be today, tomorrow, and Friday are very important to these guys' lives. I mean, like you said, this is the biggest moment of their lives. None of these 5 have ever been in a GM. It's not like you're bringing in some guy that's done it before. And this isn't John Robinson with a second go through. This is 4 or 5 guys that have never done this before. So this is a big 4 hours, man, for those guys. So it'll be interesting to see. But as I piece it all together, it just seems to me that's where they're headed.
Would it make sense if you had 5 guys? One's in house, so it's really 4. But would it make sense to have the first guy be the guy you think you might like the least, because you kind of want to have a trial run of what it's going to be like bringing the guy to the facility, what you want to go over.
Like a dress rehearsal?
Kind of like a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, it's a great question, because yesterday he said, why not bring the best guy in first and then don't do the others?
Which they obviously didn't. Because I would, if I had to handicap it, I'd say Josh Williams is at the bottom end of the 5.
Yeah, I would, and I don't know. I would say this, Mike. Good question, and I don't know, because there's certainly logic to that. We're all, I mean, if it's Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli and whoever else going through this
who've never done this,
it's their first time through too.
Right.
So I hear you. I don't know. I don't. My gut doesn't tell me they did that, but again, well, and here's one thing: we don't know any of those answers. I think we'll get all those answers after the hire. Who will you lean? I mean, whoever was told, number one, Shad's making the hire. So Shad's in the interviews and Liam's in the interviews, and I assume Tony's in the interviews. And when they all, it's, what stood out? How did you go through I'll ask that question.
How did you arrive at this conclusion?
Yeah, and how did you go through the process?
Yeah.
You just asked a great question. Was there a method to what order you brought them in? That's a great question. And if the answer is no, it was random, okay. But that's a great question. Is there a method to why you brought one person in first and why somebody else was fifth? If Ethan Waugh winds up being fifth, well, you know that answer.
Right.
You let the guy who lives here, let the other guys get back to their lives. So it'll be interesting to see. But anyway, we'll know. I think we'll know over the weekend. That'd be my guess. I've said all along, I think we'll know over the weekend. I think the opinion in the narrative in the media fan base in the universe is that Ian Cunningham and James Gladstone are the two top candidates. I think you said that. So as we make predictions, we don't know. But it's about as blind a prediction as you can make because we're not in there. We don't. And again, we didn't watch them call plays.
Right.
It's different than I told you, and I said this on this radio show 2 days after Doug Peterson was fired, that I thought either Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen would be the coach. And I believe that in all my heart. That knowing what they wanted to do, knowing the importance of developing Trevor, knowing what both those guys did last year with their play calling, that I thought that Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen would be there. And I said that on this show to you right after Doug was fired. Now, so I'm trying to do the same thing here. Coordinator was easy, but at the end, I think everybody knew the offensive coordinator was going to be Nate Shieldhouse or Grant Udinski. I think that was now defensive coordinator might have come out of nowhere a little bit, but I think by the end the narrative was right. Most people thought it was going to be one of those two guys. I think so. You kind of knew that. So now where you go with GM? I'm going to predict Gladstone. Okay. And then if I'm dead ass wrong, I'll say, well, I was dead ass wrong. And you predicted Cunningham, and
same thing.
And they could not be. And again, the predictions could not be more blind.
Yeah.
I mean, this is about as blind as predictions you can make. So, but it's fun. Predictions are fun. That's right. That's what we do. We'll take a break. We'll talk some Gator hoops after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
You could not stop Jimmy Smith now. For 4 or 5 years in this league.
Looking for Jimmy in the end zone.
Please play him one-on-one.
Jaguars, pride forever. 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Hon, who'd you call to fix our plumbing issue?
I forget their name. They said they do plumbing work.
Then what's that big thing they're driving?
Looks like a grease truck.
Grease truck?
Ugh, to pump the grease traps.
You wouldn't call a landscaper to floor your home, so why call a grease trap company for a plumbing issue? Duck Rooter is your certified plumbing contractor, specializing in all things plumbing. Get Jacksonville's real plumbing pros. Visit duckrooter.com, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Stellar Athlete of the Week, Henry Cosper, senior basketball player at Wolfson High. Henry is a member of the National Honor Society and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Congratulations, Henry.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey gang, Prosser here. We've talked about some of the struggles that you may come across when it comes time to sell your home. We've told you how great Chad and Sandy are at chadandsandy.com. But you know, they're also great when things are going good and the economy is showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat and sleep local real estate. Call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Chad and Sandy can do that. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Well, let's take care of that right now because here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant said the only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Multiple offers, full asking price. You can get it too. Call today or go to chadandsandy.com.
Craft beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Peds Care and the Rotary Foundation.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at dermagnify.com. dermagnify.com.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Dogtopia at Beach and St. John's Bluff. The number 2 Florida Gators turned heads again last night as they welcomed Oklahoma to the O-Dome for the first time as an SEC opponent with an 85-63 win, the Gators' 12th victory of 20-plus points this season. Coach Todd Golden said at the half his goal for his team was to win by 30 points, and although that didn't happen, here are his thoughts on a very dominant win and the unselfishness of his players.
Honestly, it's our goal every time we step on the floor, especially here at home. You know, we want to set the tone. We want to play with a lot of confidence. We played well tonight. I thought we did a lot of things very well. Need to rebound a little bit better, but we're on the right track. We got to get ready to go back on the road this weekend, though. I just think we're very complete, and I think we're really unselfish. We have a lot of guys that are willing to give up personal accolades and stats for the greater good of the team.
It's 58 degrees at 5:01. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you on this Wednesday installment of our program. I'm getting ready for the combine. We're going to the combine, aren't we?
It's unbelievable. Okay, it's already here.
You, me, and Mia? No,
we'll be there
on a bird.
A few days.
A big bird getting out there. It's going to be nice and warm there. But like I said, we did dodge a bullet.
It will be a balmy 45, which you would take any time you go to Indy.
It was the high
in February.
The high this week was 16.
It was really bad.
And the low was 0. So next week we get 40 and 30, which is still cold as hell, but it's not as cold.
Yeah, and that city is set up so well.
Yeah,
that
you walk through.
Really
you
only
never
have to be in it for a few minutes here and there.
When we were there to play the Colts at the end of the season, a bunch of us went to get a steak at St. Elmo's, obviously, or Harry and Izzy's, which is St. Elmo's, just with a different name, right next door. And we stayed. I think we were staying at the Marriott, the old, not the JW, but the Marriott, which is right next to it, and which is probably a mile and a half. Never went outside. You can walk through those walkways,
those corridors,
those enclosed walkways, and we literally, Bucky Brooks, who knows Indianapolis like the back of his hand because he's been going forever for the combine and stays the whole thing. He knew the back way into the restaurant, so we literally never
awesome.
never went outside. It was it was fantastic. So I did tell Mia when she was here a moment ago that and you that I'll handle all the dinner reservations.
I appreciate that.
Y'all have done the hard work. Let me do the fun work.
I've done nothing. Mia's done a ton of hard work. You're now taking on some hard work.
It's hard. Well, first, hang on. Yeah. Damn hard work.
Yes.
Making dinner reservations.
Maybe I'll make a contribution once we're actually in the city.
Maybe you'll step
I'll
up.
get us an Uber or two.
You'll step up. I want to get to Gator basketball in a second, but the driving story in college football now continues to be what's going to happen with the playoffs as we move forward. Greg saying, I get a kick out of the story from Heather Dennis, who does a very good job, by the way. Following a joint meeting between the athletic directors representing their respective conferences on Wednesday, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti said they agreed the way teams are seeded in the 12-team playoff should change. No kidding. You think? I'm surprised they thought that, okay? Yeah. Of course they thought that. So, but I don't know that I think they're going to change it for this year because they have to have the unanimous vote. And you made the point the first time we talked about this. Why on earth would the group of 5 folks and any of the and then there's 5 commissioners that have to agree? Why would any of them agree to this?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. This is what I would say. We've obviously we're lucky to get Nick Morrow, the UNF AD, and Alex Rickard Gilbert, the JU AD. They've told us about this, on air.
Right.
And frankly, it's repulsive that JU and UNF are being, and not just them, but everybody at that level is being forced to contribute money to this House resolution to give back pay to athletes that were just in college but weren't able to take advantage of NIL. And the reason that they're doing it, what are we supposed to do? Well, it's sort of the same thing here. Like now, I wouldn't be surprised if they get their way. Because clearly the message is you're either going to agree to what we want,
right,
or we're going to break away from you.
Yeah.
And so I don't think.
Good point.
I mean,
good point.
I thought a month or so ago when we were first talking about this that, what would be the motivation for any of these conferences outside of those two to agree with this? The system clearly benefits them. I mean, Boise State was a 3 seed.
Right.
Which we all know is ridiculous, but it's the system they agreed to. Why would they change it? But the SEC and Big Ten, I think, wield even more power than I even thought they did. So it almost seems like it's appeasement. It's almost like, well, we can't go against them because at least they're letting us have some sort of a role here.
Right.
And if they break away, they will win.
Well, not only break away, but before that, great point, because starting the following season, they've all voted to give the SEC and Big Ten the power. So if we don't do what you want us to do in 25, Lord knows what you're going to vote on in 26. So, okay, you're going to keep, Boise State will be 3rd again next year in 25, but wait till you see what we do in 26.
Right.
You may not even make the tournament. And so that's part of this is if you vote against it, we're going to remember. The fear is that Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey are going to say, okay, we're going to remember how you voted on if you vote with us on this one, because we control the next 6 years, and which is what the next contract's going to be 26 through 31. So we control the next, and that's all. And all these other conferences have ceded the power to, which that part astounded me. They've contractually ceded the control and the decision making to the Big Ten and the SEC.
It's remarkable.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see but it's an interesting story. So we'll continue to.
It really leads you to wonder. Getting back to Florida State's argument, I guess a year ago, when they were shouting from the mountaintops of, look, we may not be able to compete which I never really bought into. I was like, Florida State is always going to be able to compete.
Because they're Florida State.
Who cares if the SEC and Big Ten schools may have a little bit more money that they're getting every year, but Florida State will still compete. But I kind of understand now. Like, if you're Florida State, if you're Clemson, big-time brands, Miami, in the ACC, you do, I think, have to wonder, like, what's this going to look like in 10 years?
Yeah.
I mean, is it literally going to be the SEC and the Big Ten, and they win 95% of the national titles, and then occasionally every, like, blue moon maybe you see somebody outside of those two win it? Because it certainly seems like that is where the sport is headed.
Right.
And I think it would have to be frightening. And the problem is that you also run into is I think the SEC and Big Ten have figured it out. We don't need to add anybody else.
Well, that's the bottom line. Back to the FSU thing. FSU and Clemson both thought, maybe North Carolina and others too, that listen, let's get with the guys who are winning, no matter what it costs. Let's get out of here and get on their team. And I'll give our friend Matt Hays, Brett McMurphy as well at the media days, but Matt Hays has said, listen, the SEC and the Big Ten don't want them. And that's no disrespect to Florida State, which is a phenomenal last-generation blue blood. That's not a knock on Clemson or FSU. It's we got enough. It's again that's once we collectively, the two leagues, once we took on Texas, Oklahoma, USC, UCLA, and Washington, Oregon, we got enough. And I think that's where they are. So you're right about that. We got headlines coming up in a minute, but before we do, I want to get to this. What could, barring an assortment of new injuries or the continuation of injuries now, what's the biggest thing that could go wrong for this Gator basketball team, which seems to have now Final Four written all over it?
Tough night shooting.
Yeah.
They shoot 28%. Nothing goes in across the board, and they lose. That's I think the only thing, because I don't think they're going to get killed on the glass. They're not rebounding as well as they were. But
their best rebounders hurt.
Correct. But I don't think they're going to have a game where they get killed on the glass. They don't commit a lot of turnovers. In fact, last night they committed a season low 6.
Right.
So they keep getting more efficient.
Walter Clayton Jr. in 27 minutes did not commit a turnover.
Right.
Aberdeen's had back-to-back games without.
So my answer would be, see, the Tennessee loss, the blowout loss, they couldn't throw it in the ocean.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't that Tennessee was more – I mean, they were more physical. That certainly contributed. But what really doomed Florida that day is they shot like 26% from the field.
Well, two things. You're dead on. The bad shooting, because the one and I still say this, the one Achilles heel, every team's got one. No one's perfect. The one Achilles heel of this team is inside scoring. Their bigs are not great scorers around the basket. They're just, for whatever reason, they're just not. Now listen, the way the world's gone, there's less of that anyway. But Janai Broom's still a good scorer around the basket. Their inside guys are not good. So if somebody can defend their inside guys and they're missing their jump shots or their threes, then they're in trouble. I agree with you. They're not going to have a bad night defensively. They're even when you play a good offense, it's more of an offensive game these days anyway. But no, they're not going to have a bad night defensively. I agree with you. They may be a little sloppy, but they're not going to lose the game because they're turnover happy. I agree with that. And
they're not going to lose a game because they had a bunch of guys in foul trouble because they're as deep as anybody.
And so,
correct. I mean, unless they have an officiating crew that calls 26 fouls on Florida and 11 on the opponent, which you just don't see, then, I mean.
And that usually happens when the other guy's more physical, which isn't likely to happen very often.
Right. But even if, like, Houck got in foul trouble last night, didn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I think you were concerned because there was so much time left in the first half. But it didn't become – I mean, I don't think they even mentioned it in the second half because the game was out of hand. So the odds that Florida now, particularly now that they've got – once they get Condon back, you've got 4 bigs that all know how to play this game at this level.
Right, and can all – and by the way, are exceptional rebounders.
Right.
I mean, for Handlock, it's still not a great offensive player, even when he's healthy and back in shape, but he is a phenomenal rim protector, but also a rebounder. Their guards are good rebounders.
Right.
So
and their guards are smart. Like, I don't think you're going to see Clayton, Martin, Richard. I think if you're Todd Golden, you can play them at 2 fouls in the first half and feel good about that. I think you can play them with 3 early in the second, 4 at the 10-minute mark if you need to, if the game's tight. So they have such experience. They know how to play. They know these officials. I mean, again, another thing about college basketball, there's about 30 officials, it seems like, that do Florida games.
Right.
I mean, so these seniors, like Clayton, Richard, Martin, like, they know these officials. These were the same officials at Belmont and Florida Atlantic and maybe not Iona. But my point is, like, if you've been playing college basketball for 4 or 5 years, you probably know how a certain ref is going to call a game. So if you need to kind of take it easy because you've picked up 3 and there's 17 minutes left in the second half, if you're Clayton, Richard, Martin, you can probably navigate that.
Yeah, and they've showed to this point they can. So we'll see. A bad shooting night could be the one thing that does it. Let's take a break. Hayes has headlines on the other side of this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
We live where they vacation.
I got my toes in the water, toes in the sand. Not a worry in a world of cold beer in my hand. Life is good today.
1010XL.
Life is good today.
This is Hays Carlyon for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'm down over 20 pounds already thanks to Physician Guided Weight Loss. I feel great, and it's all thanks to them. Their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and proven results have sold me. They can help you too, and it's affordable with firm pricing, no rising costs as you go. If you're like me and looking to kick off the new year with a leaner body, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice. Watch the roulette wheel spin and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star. Sip cocktails that shimmer. Then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. Located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Prize, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval? That's right, man. I really identify with Duval. You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead. I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up. The boss. Because, of course, oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me. That's just not true. What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss." Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you. Go find yours. They may even make you a boss. I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash. Where more is better. And you got that right.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about how God never fails us. In the Bible, Christ says this, I will in no way fail you or leave you without support. This is so important to remember because we can have the attitude, where is God when I need him? Why is this problem happening to me? No, just because your mind is saying one thing doesn't mean that God isn't going to do what he said. God has never failed us in the past. He's not about to start right now.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service and the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
Upgrade your home with the winning combination of style and performance from Renewal by Anderson. Energy efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires February 28th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harold and Harold. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back. Yeah, I had lunch with my good buddy Holt Harold today. We had a good time. Always good seeing him. Again, hopefully you won't need him. Hopefully you don't get injured, but we know it does happen. Give Harold and Harold a call. 251-1111. They'll take great care of you.
The word on the street is, see if you can confirm or deny this,
Yes.
all-time good guy and big Gator football fan.
Yes.
You're trying to move him toward Gator
I'm
basketball.
trying to
That's
move
what I'm
him
hearing
towards
from my
basketball.
sources.
Yes, that your sources are impeccable.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I am. He's kind of peeking at it, but not really. I told him, all right, well, now I'm going to start quizzing you. So starting with Saturday's game at LSU, you're going to start getting a quiz to see, because you got to watch these guys.
Yes.
I mean, if you
Don't
love
miss
the
this
Gators,
opportunity,
I mean, there's
right.
only 5 games left
Right.
in the regular season, and then you got the SEC tournament and the NCAA. But, I mean, soak this one up. Because while I think Todd Golden is phenomenal, like, you may never see a team like this. It may be
really
15 years before you see this again.
This doesn't happen. If you're not Duke,
right,
and maybe just Duke,
yeah,
this doesn't happen very often. And so that's great advice.
Yes, but we had a great time. We will start with the Jaguars and the general manager search. The team announced they have completed an in-person interview with San Francisco's director of scouting and football operations, Josh Williams. Williams has been with the 49ers in various roles for 14 years.
Yeah, and listen, I'll say what I said earlier in the program. This is 5 guys. I said this yesterday. It's a good group. You wouldn't fly Josh Williams in here from San Francisco, 5 hours across country, or James Gladstone from Los Angeles, or John Eric Sullivan from probably out of the Milwaukee airport, or Ian Cunningham out of Chicago, and ask them to spend so much heart and soul and energy, and same with Ethan Waugh, even though he's already here, if you weren't seriously considering them. And so that's the right way and the respectful way to do it. And it'll be interesting to see the way it plays out. I'm excited about this. I think there's going to be a good choice either way. And I'll be interested to see who we find. And I would guess over the weekend we'll have an idea.
Yeah, I would agree. Whoever the new Jaguars GM is will have a little bit more money to work with, as will every NFL club, because the NFL has told its teams to expect the salary cap to come in between $277.5 million and $281.5 million. That is at a minimum an increase of $22.1 million from last year. So teams like the Saints in bad cap shape, but a team like the Jaguars who's sort of wrestling with a decision on receiver Christian Kirk, your finances just got a little bit easier.
You know that stuff better than I do. Are you surprised?
Yes, that wasn't. I think the expectation was like around 274, maybe. So yeah, I mean, and look, $3 to $4 million. That's substantial. That could be that's a player.
That's a player.
That's a pretty decent player that you now have. Or again, if a player was on kind of the cusp of, is this player a little too expensive? Is the cap percentage a little too high? Well, their cap percentage just came down a little bit. So it helps everyone. The Jaguars certainly aren't getting an advantage. It probably helps the teams like the Patriots the least, who had all the cap space, the most in the league. But certainly for a team like the Jaguars that was hovering kind of in the middle part, absolutely, I think it's welcome news. Let's get it to Kansas City as we approach free agency, because according to a report in The Athletic, Kansas City is not expected to use the franchise or transition tag on right guard Trey Smith. Again, this will apply to the Jaguars. The 25-year-old Smith has started 80 games, including 13 playoff games in his 4 years in KC. And Frank, as we know, right guard could be a spot where the new Jaguars leadership is looking to add in free agency to replace Brandon Sheriff.
I would say the most significant thing, I know, the most significant things they'll try and do is improve the interior of those two lines. We've talked about defensive tackle forever. We haven't talked about offensive guard enough, but Hays, you're right. You got to get better at offensive guard. And Brandon Sheriff's had a wonderful career, by the way. But if they don't bring him back, I think center guard is where they've got to get better. Ezra Cleveland's a good player. Mitch Morse has had a wonderful career. So has Brandon Sheriff. But I'd be surprised if that three-player configuration is what they go with this year. So we'll see if a guy like Trey Smith is in play.
Absolutely. The Chargers will play in Brazil Friday night of Week 1. That's September 5th this year. The Eagles and Packers played in Brazil last year, but we don't know the opponent yet. We won't find that out until the NFL releases its schedule this spring. But the Chargers headed to Brazil.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, they're adding Ireland. I read at some point they're going to Australia.
That's right. That's next year, the Rams.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, Hays, that how truly worldwide the NFL is. And, hey, look, I give Roger Goodell credit. If you can take over the world, why not? And they're on their way up here.
I liked the Friday night game. Obviously, we had the Thursday opener, which I'm assuming will be in Philly this year. So you've got Philly hosting, the world champions hosting Thursday night to open the season. Then you'll have the Chargers versus whoever on the Friday night. But I liked that game last year. I enjoyed it watching the Eagles and Packers play. The full international schedule, to your point. So the Jags will play at Wembley. The Browns and Jets are playing at Tottenham in individual games, but they're giving up the home game. The Colts are playing in Berlin. The Dolphins are playing in Madrid, and the Steelers are playing in Dublin.
Pretty amazing. It really is. And don't you get the impression this is just the start?
Yes.
I mean, it's not the start. I guess the start was Wembley years ago, but
they're not done.
But they're not done.
Right.
This is a phase. It may be phase 2, but it's not the last phase. It really isn't.
Let's get it to college football. The Athletic's Stuart Mandel writes that the Big Ten and SEC are getting ready to light the sport aflame with massive demands, 4 playoff entries each and more of the revenue and control. The two conferences met today. Frank, where is this headed?
Yeah, there. And I don't love it, but I think you're going to see 16, not 14. After 25, everybody now has conceded that there will be at least 14 teams in the playoff. I think it'll get to 16. And it does look like the model you're going to see is the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1. And I think what you're going to see is 4 automatic qualifiers from the SEC, 4 automatic qualifiers from the Big Ten, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12, and 3, I take it back, and 1 from the group of 5, and then 3 at-large teams. And I think Notre Dame will be guaranteed a spot if they're in the top 14, I think I saw. So that's it. And I don't like it. I love benefiting the big conferences because I think they've earned that. But I don't like the automatic qualifiers. I don't think you need those. I think if you go to 16 teams, you're naturally going to have 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten, or certainly 4 SEC. And I don't think you need it, but that's what they've decided to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reports that the SEC is close to going to a 9-game conference format. Would you like that?
Well, yes. And the two things we just talked about are connected. If you get to 16 overall, then the SEC teams won't be as concerned about one extra loss. Because if you get to 16, 3 lost teams are now in.
I would say so.
And I think a 4-loss team doesn't deserve in no matter who you play.
Right. That's only winning 66% of your game.
Yeah. So I would think if you get to 16, you'll get to the 9. The 9 means more money. There's also a word on the street, Hayes, that the ESPN's cracking a little bit. The one reason the SEC hasn't already gone, I'm thinking for the SEC, not the Big Ten. The one reason the SEC hasn't already gone to 9, apart from fear of another loss, is they wanted ESPN to pay more for another week of SEC games. ESPN said no. What you hear now and what you read now is that maybe the ESPN is cracking a bit on that. Yeah. And I think they will ultimately.
They saw the ratings this season.
Yeah, they
were
did.
Like, we can give you a little bit more for more inventory there. Let's get to college basketball. Number 2, Florida made quick work of visiting Oklahoma, whipping the Sooners 85-63. No Florida player logged more than 27 minutes in the rout. Walter Clayton Jr. led the Gators with 18 points. UF committed a season-low 6 turnovers to improve to 23-3 overall and 10-3 in SEC play.
Hayes, they were up 23, and they pulled Clayton with 10 minutes and 33 seconds to play in the game. The last 10 minutes, your best player didn't play, and you still won by over 20 against Oklahoma. Not Oklahoma Tech, not Northeast Oklahoma. Oklahoma. And I know they're having a down year. And
they're top 50 in the net. Yeah, they're right in there.
They were 13-0 before they ran into this gauntlet of an SEC schedule, a point you made earlier. Again, I am flabbergasted that in year 3, Todd Golden has built what might be the best team in America. And really, with no big-time recruits. They said this last night. The only guy that was a 4+ star recruit on the team is Ruben Chignolo. Do you know that?
Yeah.
He's the only one. And he's probably, honestly, their 7th best player.
Yeah.
That's amazing stuff.
It really is. Florida's depth was again on full display, playing without Alex Condon and Sam Alexis. The Gators bench still outscored Oklahoma's 28-14. Elijah Martin, Urban Klabzar, and Micah Handlogden all made big contributions off the bench.
Dude, are you like me? Every time Klabzar gets a look, you expect it to go in?
Oh, without a doubt.
It's almost that Lee Humphrey, Michael Frazier, when they let one go, you pretty much expected not only go in, but you kind of expected a swish.
Yeah.
And when he lets it go, I think it's going in.
When he got the pass in the corner and then took the little fake step, I just started laughing because it was like, that's it. Yeah. And of course he drained it.
Yeah, and because it wasn't enough that they already had 7 really, really, really good players. He's one more. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. Number 21 Mississippi State defeated number 7 Texas A&M in Starkville 70-54. That dropped the Aggies to 9-4 in SEC play. So Florida is now alone in 3rd place. The Gators are 2 games back of Auburn and 1 game back of Alabama. The top 4 seeds in the SEC tournament get the coveted double bye. So Florida now with a little slack there.
And think about that for a second. A&M went to Starkville and lost. Okay, A&M's really good, by the way. They're a top 5, top 8 team, and they lost in Starkville because the league's so good. Florida went to Starkville a week ago and made them look like a high school team.
Yeah.
We're talking about a week apart. We're not talking about 2 months when your team can change. Texas A&M was really good and big and long and physical. They're probably the best rebounding team in the league. Went to Starkville and lost. Florida went to Starkville, which we thought would be a hard game, and toyed with them. That's how good the Gators are, man. It really is.
Without a doubt. Man, how far has Kansas fallen this season? Ooh. The Jayhawks lost at BYU 91-57 to drop to 17-9 overall and 8-7 in Big 12 play. The 34-point defeat tied the worst loss in the Bill Self era, which spans 20 years. Kansas is ranked 23rd currently, but likely will be unranked next week.
34-point loss. I do have a few questions about it. I don't know if you have the box score pulled up, but maybe you do this off the top of your head. Was Jim McMahon in the game?
He was not.
Okay, Steve Young.
No,
Robbie
Steve Young.
Robbie Bosco.
No Bosco.
Okay.
But who was the Jameer? What was the guy's name? Jimmer.
Yeah. Now Zimmer was there.
Jimmer knocked down 23s.
Unfortunately, JJ, I couldn't think of a BYU basketball player. I just ran through my litany of BYU football players.
Well, he beat y'all, didn't he?
Yeah, yes,
he did.
Yeah, he did.
Ty Detmer had a double-double.
I should have gone to Kai. I should have gone to both Detmers. I forgot them.
UNF got a big road win at Stetson, 79-71. Jossie Miles led the Ospreys with 19 points and 7 rebounds. UNF improved to 7-8 in ASUN play, tied for 7th place with Austin Peay.
Let me tell you what's weird about UNF. They're 7-8. There's a bunch of teams with 10 wins, so they're behind. Why do I get this feeling that if they get it going,
you don't want them showing up?
You
in
really
your
don't. You don't want to play UNF in all those threes, man. They know how to play. They know how to get them off. As weird as it sounds, UNF's not dead, man.
No.
They swept Stetson. They've beat JU. They get JU again, obviously coming in on Thursday night. Tomorrow, we'll be there tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm really not.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if UNF can win the second Rumble. They won the first. It was a tough night for JU last night as the Dolphins fall at Florida Gulf Coast 72-56. The Dolphins really struggled at the foul line, making just 5 of 15, while Gulf Coast was 19 of 23. JU is now 10-5 in conference play, which puts the Dolphins in a 3-way tie for 4th.
I will tell you, losing Stephon Payne hurt them. He is 6'10". He's got a great vertical jump, and he's their rim protector, and he's their best rebounder. And they've got a bunch of big guys, but they don't play like he plays. They've got, Zemi Wakaji's a 6'8" guy that can shoot it. Munson's a 6'8" guy that's got better offensive skills around him, but doesn't jump and play above the rim the way Payne does. And Payne's got a foot thing. He may be hurt. He's missed 2 games with that foot. If it turns out to be a broken foot and he's gone, that will affect them. They've got that's a team that relies on defense and rebounding and toughness. And Steph Payne from right here in Jacksonville, played at Jackson High School, by the way. That's a big loss if they don't get him back, JU. Big game for JU and UNF tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great environment. Let's get you out on our musical nugget of the day. We love celebrating the local concerts that we've had over the years in our great city, and we're going to celebrate another one today. A local music anniversary, because on this date, 42 years ago, Prince played at the Jacksonville Coliseum in 1983. This was the 1999 tour, so a year before Purple Rain came out. Prince played a dozen songs, so not a very long concert, closing with 1999.
I tell you what, had some pretty good shows in that old building.
Oh, yeah.
I told you this. My mom saw Elvis in that building.
Yeah.
I've seen them all in that building, and I did not know Prince had been here. How good is that? Great work as always. Thanks. On Headlines. We'll take a break. We'll wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The NHL's mid-season tournament, the four-nation face-off, concludes on Thursday in Boston when the United States takes on Canada. The U.S. beat Canada in the round-robin portion of the tournament on Saturday 3-1. And they're a goal-and-a-half favorite, plus 220 on the puck line, while Canada getting a goal-and-a-half, minus 325. On the money line, both the United States and Canada are minus 110. The over-under goal total for Thursday night is 5.5, with the over at plus 110 and the under minus 130. The United States will be without defenseman Charlie McAvoy. The Boston Bruin is out with an upper body injury. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010 XL.
When it rains, it better drain. If storm drains on your commercial property aren't doing their job, this is a major liability that needs to be corrected. Call Duck Duck Rooter to have your storm drains jetted and cleaned with our powerful vac con truck. We'll clear the way for better drainage. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jags. Duck Duck Rooter, your fully insured certified plumbing and underground utility contractor.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show. With tips and stories. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10. On 1010XL.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res, and if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning, but in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right, schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res. Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
It's ET here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Craft
beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Peace Care and the Rotary Foundation.
This is Hays Carlyon for First Florida Credit Union. Come join me in Helmets and Heels as we celebrate First Florida Credit Union's new Roosevelt location. Helmets and Heels will be broadcasting live from 6319 Roosevelt Boulevard from 12 to 2 p.m. this Thursday. Come learn about the many ways First Florida Credit Union is enriching people. There will be refreshments and cool giveaways. Come see Helmets and Heels this Thursday live from 12 to 2 p.m. at First Florida Credit Union's Roosevelt location. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where have we been in the show today? Let's take a little glimpse. We've talked about certainly the Jags GM situation. Hays and I both made predictions. He's predicting Ian Cunningham. I'm predicting James Gladstone. The beauty of those predictions is we both have no idea. It's just a wild guess. So, but we'll see. We certainly talked a great deal about why it makes sense to hire whom, and I do think this. I think all five are good candidates. I've said that all along, and I think I think the Jags are going about it the right way. And I'm guessing by this weekend we'll know who the new general manager will be. Sports and Courts was interesting. Brett Hastings stopped by to talk about this movement in the Georgia legislature that asked for college athletes who get NIL money not to have state tax assigned to it, even though state income tax goes to every other laborer in the state.
Right.
And so,
by the way, in addition to that, I've decided, and I'm sorry to tell you this, although you'd probably be glad to hear this, I'm going to move to Georgia.
Okay.
I'm going to get into politics.
Yeah.
And I'm going to run on a platform of if you are a blue chip football prospect in the state of Georgia, it is illegal for you to attend a college that is not in Georgia. Do you like it?
Well, I think it'll win.
Yeah.
I think it'll win a lot of votes.
Will you come visit me when I'm the governor of Georgia?
No, I won't. Okay, I won't come visit you, but I think you're going to win. I think you just tell those Georgia boosters. So, and Alabama boosters, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe I think I'd rather live in Georgia than Alabama, but I might choose Alabama.
I would.
You never know.
I would. North
I
Georgia.
think it's a winning platform in either state.
There's no question. Listen, I said it before. If Saban was still, it'd be done. If Saban was still in place, it would have been done. Right. Saban would call. You know the Saban, the Verbo commercials. Okay. Well, Saban, the governor could come to one of those and Saban said, "This is the rules."
That's the rule.
That's the rule. I love Saban. God bless his soul. So we talked about that with Sports and Courts. We talked about the GM search. We talked about Gator basketball, and we talked a little bit about where college football is going, and the fact that it does look like, beginning in the 26th season, everybody believes they'll get to 14 or 16 teams. I think it'll be 16. And there will be automatic qualifiers, 4 each from the Big Ten and the SEC. That's where it looks like this thing is headed. Few other things we did not get to. Well, we did get to. You talked about it in headlines. The salary cap is going to be bigger in the NFL. And so
it's good news.
It is good news for all the teams. You know, so because everybody's got a Christian Kirk who's a really good player that they probably don't want to cut if they don't have to. You know, the Jags aren't the only team in that situation.
Yeah, I do. I think it helps the Jags a little bit more than some of the teams. Like if you're flush with cap space, this is not good news because it's going to make, obviously, the free agency market will probably be hurt a little bit. Teams will work out deals maybe in the 11th hour. And so, but yeah, for the Jaguars who are sort of in the middle of the road, I think it's absolutely welcome news. It's great news for teams like the Saints who just keep kicking, their problems down the road. They're like $58 million over.
Right.
So any little bit extra that they're getting really helps them. But yeah, I think it just shows, the cap is just exploded. It's just ridiculous. It was a few years ago, it was like $210 million.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a good sign. By the way, I saw where Luka is now going to not have his minutes restriction. They're backing off the load management for Luka.
Good. I'm ready to lock in on Luka and the Lakers.
So
assuming they make the NBA Finals.
So now that the load management has been under control, I saw this today. Michael Jordan did not miss a single game during his final three-peat with the Bulls. So when they won 3, and then he was gone. They won 3 more. In the last, that's 3 seasons, by the way. They played 310 games in those 3 years. Okay, from 95 to 98, won all 3 titles. 310 games, including the playoffs. Michael Jordan played in 310 games.
It's amazing. The greatest to ever do it.
No load management then. They didn't have load management. No. Michael, take off that game against Sacramento.
It would have been insulting to even suggest it.
We want you to be fresh for the first round against the Pistons. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, it would have been insulting. That's why it's I think hard for many of us to get behind today's NBA it's just the
load management.
NBA used to be tough.
Right.
I mean, that was tough basketball.
Yeah, the one thing, and I complain about baseball all the time too. Why? And I still say it. What is this? It's still 60 feet 6 inches. It's still 162 games. Why could Nolan Ryan and Bob Gibson and Tom Seaver and Sandy Koufax throw regular complete games, and starters today can't get to the 7th inning? And I'm not smart enough to know it all.
Right. Or the 5th inning.
Or the 5th inning. And so it's just amazing to me. And basketball is the same way, this load management. I mean, Michael Jordan played. This is, by the way, it was his second three-peat. Right. So he's in his 30s. Yes. Right? We're not talking about a kid. They had, again, between 1995 and 1998, when they won all 3 titles, if you counted playoff games, they played 310 games. He played in all 310.
It's amazing.
I mean,
that's be unthinkable today.
Well, are you kidding?
Yeah.
You'd get laughed out of the place. You'd get laughed out if you try to play someone. So it's this 30-year-old guy, and I get it, he's the GOAT. But anyway,
yeah. To your point, I bet you that wasn't uncommon. I bet you if you looked at, Carl the Mailman Malone, probably wasn't a lot of off nights for Stockton and Malone or, any of those superstars of that era.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I will say this, and when I saw this stat, LeBron's great, and there's great players in every sport now. And Brady's the greatest football player of all time. But it's really cool that we were alive, and JJ, you were barely alive. You were younger. But it's cool that we were alive for the Jordan thing. Mm-hmm. The Jordan, and JJ, you can't appreciate it. I get it because you're young, because you weren't, but to watch Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I rooted against him, so it wasn't a fun era, but he was unbelievable.
Right. He was Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like being alive for Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I mean, which is just playing, who was regularly playing there's not many guys now that are regularly playing a different sport. There's times, I think Patrick Mahomes is,
Right.
But there's times LeBron, but there's not many times where you think a guy's playing a different sport. And I think he was. So those were good times. So we're gonna say hello to Hacker in just a second. Hacker's tonight, right, JJ?
Yep, he's right here. Look at this guy.
Look at this guy.
Wow.
Okay. How tall are you?
On a good day, 5'7".
Turn that mic on. How 5'7"?
On a good day, 5'7".
I'm saying 5'7", $175.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Right about
absolutely.
About 5'7", $175.
I didn't get to 175. I did get to 190.
Cruiserweight.
You look great.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Are you still doing it? Or are you still?
I started the maintenance portion.
Okay.
Is what it's called. In fact, tomorrow is the year anniversary that I started when I was 317 pounds.
Okay.
Did you know right away that this is going to change my life?
I lost 19 pounds in the first 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
On Awaken 180. Yeah, it was wild.
The first 7 days.
First 7 days, 19 pounds.
Let me tell you what's happening. Hacker went from right guard, okay, to starting tight end. Yeah. Hang on. To move tight end. To slot receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't go right guard. You don't go right guard to slot receiver. You got to go right guard, blocking tight end, move tight end, slot receiver.
Absolutely.
125 pounds.
You look great, bro.
Thank you, buddy.
You doing all right?
Yeah, doing well.
You enjoying this Gator basketball run?
I am. Actually, we got Chris Harry coming up tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about.
All right. First of all, let's officially say hello to Hacker.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, now we'll do this officially. Chris Harry knows Gator basketball better than anyone. He's the one that travels with them.
Yeah.
He knows it but I'm telling you, this is how many times in any of our lifetimes have we been able to say the Florida Gators might be the best team in the country?
Well, that's what I brought up last night. I mean, they're obviously not back to where they were with Billy. I mean, how could you be back-to-back national titles? But I'm not sure how many Gator fans thought well, maybe we can get back to number 2 in America. Maybe we can be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, which is they're already number 2 in America, and they're probably going to be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. And it's only it's not even year 3 in full for Todd Golden yet. I mean, what an amazing job he's done there.
Yeah, it really is. I think obviously the 2 title teams could beat anybody in the country. I think in 2014 we felt like by the time they were the number 1 overall seed, we felt like they could beat anybody in the country.
2000 team.
Yeah, the 2000 team.
That team was deep.
Yeah, but they were a 5 seed.
Yeah, they were.
But you're right. They were. But I mean, you're right. We got to a point where we thought they could beat anybody, and they could have. But it hasn't happened very often.
And all of a sudden, we thought Florida, an 8-man rotation, if injuries happen, they're in trouble.
Right.
Well, they've been hurt by injuries, and they haven't missed a beat. And all of a sudden now, when Condon and Alexis get back, they're 10 deep.
Yeah.
With Hand-Lockton and Klobuchar.
Yeah, and I would think Alexis will have trouble getting even playing. I doubt he'll be there next year.
And
By the
way,
I doubt he'll be there next year.
they have a 7'9" kid that's redshirting.
Yeah.
Wait till that Golden loves.
Yeah.
He was asked about him this week and said, he's developing faster than I thought he would.
How about that?
Wait till he gets unleashed next season.
Again, I think you got to play. I think what you do is you play Hand-Lockton at the point.
Yeah.
So there you go. What's coming up tonight?
Yeah, Chris Harry will join us, like we said, talk a little Gator hoops. Zig Fracasse's my guy, Sirius XM NFL and Sirius XM NHL. We're going to talk about the Jaguars, obviously, and I want to talk about this U.S.-Canada thing. The Saturday night,
you
had 3 fights in 10 seconds. To
start the game.
Yeah, the political thing with the anthem. We're going to touch about that briefly, but we're a sports show, so we're going to talk USA-Canada because the rematch is tomorrow night in Boston. And I'm not a hockey fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'll be watching that thing.
Yeah, Sean McDonough, his plea. Did you see this? His pleaded with the U.S. fans: don't boo, don't boo. Don't boo them when it starts. That's not what this is about. So it'll be interesting to see. Sean McDonough, by the way, who's fantastic on everything.
Oh, he's so good.
He's drank out of the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Sean McDonough has not aged in 30 years.
And he sounds fantastic. All right, all coming up in a bit.
Thanks, guys.
Hacker After Dark comes up right now. That'll do it for our program. Tomorrow we'll be live at the UNF Arena. Hayes and I will be there. The Rumble, the second Rumble, UNF won the first one. Big game for both teams. JU and UNF at the UNF Arena tomorrow. Come see us. We'll be there from 4 to 6 right here. For Hayes and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.